June 12, 2026, the President of South Africa walked into a courtroom, not to answer questions, to stop them from being asked. Cyril Ramaphosa filed an urgent application in the Western Cape High Court, seeking to interdict Parliament's own impeachment committee from doing its job. He named the Speaker of the National Assembly as a respondent. He named the committee's own chairperson as a respondent. The man who came to power promising accountability was now suing the institutions designed to hold him accountable. And the country that believed in him was watching. To understand how South Africa arrived at this moment, you have to go back to a February night in 2020. Armed men broke into a game farm in Limpopo province. They were professionals. They knew exactly where to go. Hidden inside a sofa cushion, US dollars, foreign cash, in large quantities on the private luxury farm of the President of South Africa. They took the money, they disappeared. And for almost 2.5 years, the President said nothing. No police report, no insurance claim, no public statement. The leader who ran on transparency had been robbed of foreign currency hidden in his furniture and told no one. That silence became the scandal, and the scandal became a 6-year crisis that, as of today, has not ended. His name is Cyril Ramaphosa. Before Phala Phala, he was something rare in African politics. He was the good one. For 9 years, South Africa had endured Jacob Zuma, state capture, billions looted, institutions hollowed out, the country's soul sold by the peace. Ramaphosa arrived as the antidote, the trade union leader turned billionaire businessman who promised accountability, clean governance, and a break from everything Zuma represented. South Africans believed him, investors believed him, the international community believed him. He became ANC president in 2017. He became the country's president in 2018. Then, someone broke into his sofa.
The farm is called Phala Phala. It sits in the Waterberg region of Limpopo, a vast stretch of bushveld hours north of Johannesburg. Ramaphosa's explanation was that the cash represented proceeds from the sale of buffalo. His farm runs a legitimate buffalo breeding operation. A Sudanese businessman named Hazim Mustafa allegedly paid US dollars 580,000 in cash for 20 buffaloes years before they were actually delivered. Cash in dollars for animals years in advance, never declared to the South African Reserve Bank. Investigators pointed to problems immediately. South Africa has strict exchange control rules. Every businessman in the country knows this. Ramaphosa, who built a multi-billion rand business empire, knows it better than most. The panel that later reviewed the matter was unconvinced. It found on the record that the information before them disclosed prima facie evidence that the president may have committed serious constitutional violations, including exposing himself to a conflict of interest, doing outside paid work, and contravening anti-corruption laws. The unexplained cash was not just embarrassing. Under South African law, it raised questions of money laundering and exchange control violations. The president who came to power promising accountability was explaining stuffed sofas. Then the intelligence community walked in. The whistleblower who went public was Arthur Fraser, the former Director General of South Africa's State Security Agency, the country's former spy chief. Fraser filed a criminal complaint against Ramaphosa in June 2022. He alleged not only that the money had been hidden illegally, but that after the robbery, Ramaphosa's farm security team had tracked down at least 4 of the thieves, detained them without police involvement, interrogated them, and allegedly paid them to keep quiet. If true, a sitting president had used private operatives to conduct extrajudicial detentions and paid off witnesses to conceal evidence of a crime. But Fraser was no neutral figure. He was the man Jacob Zuma had appointed as spy chief, deeply embedded in the faction Ramaphosa had spent years fighting. The question that South Africa could not answer cleanly was whether Fraser was a legitimate whistleblower or a deployed political weapon, or whether both could be true at the same time. Parliament moved. A Section 89 independent panel, chaired by former Chief Justice Sandile Ngopo, was constituted to assess whether grounds for impeachment existed. In November 2022, the panel reported, there were indeed grounds to believe Ramaphosa may have committed serious constitutional violations. It was not a conviction, it was a finding by a panel chaired by a former Chief Justice. The President of South Africa had a case to answer. The ANC's response was immediate and decisive. In December 2022, the ruling party used its parliamentary majority to vote against adopting the panel's report. The inquiry was blocked. Ramaphosa survived. For the next 3 years, the scandal receded from the front pages, until May 8, 2026.
On that morning, South Africa's Constitutional Court delivered a judgment that changed everything. Chief Justice Mandisa Maya, reading the unanimous ruling at Constitutional Hill in Johannesburg, found that the National Assembly's December 2022 vote had been unconstitutional. The rule Parliament had relied on to block the process, Rule 129I, was itself declared inconsistent with the Constitution and set aside. The vote that saved Ramaphosa in 2022 was, in the eyes of the Apex Court, illegal. The Section 89 panel report was ordered to be referred to an impeachment committee. The Speaker, Toko Didiza, was instructed to begin the process. A 31-member committee drawn from 16 political parties, chaired by Rise Mzansi's Makashule Ghana, was constituted. For the first time since the scandal broke, Ramaphosa faced an impeachment process he could not block with an ANC majority vote. His response was immediate and, to many South Africans, deeply familiar. On May 11th, Ramaphosa announced he would take the Section 89 panel report on judicial review, arguing the panel had relied on hearsay, exceeded its mandate, and applied the wrong legal standard. His lawyers wrote to the Speaker on June 3rd, asking her to suspend the impeachment process until the review was finalized. Didiza declined. So on June 12, 2026, Ramaphosa walked into the Western Cape High Court. He filed an urgent interdict application, naming Didiza and Ghana as respondents, seeking to prevent the impeachment committee from commencing its work. He argued that if the committee began before the review was decided, the damage could not be undone. The committee scheduled its first meeting for June 24th. The review hearing was set for September 2nd through 4th. Ramaphosa was asking the court to freeze the democratic process for months. The opposition parties did not blink. The EFF announced it would oppose the interdict. The African Transformation Movement said it would oppose it and that one day should be sufficient to hear the matter. An Action SA MP looked directly into camera and said what many were thinking. This is exactly the same playbook that Jacob Zuma used. The man who replaced Zuma was now using Zuma's strategy: delay, litigate,
outlast. Political analysts called it the Stalingrad strategy, the same description used during the years Zuma tied the courts in knots to avoid his own legal reckoning. The country that had celebrated Ramaphosa's arrival as the end of that era was now watching him deploy its methods.
Now step back, because this is the moment where the story becomes bigger than Ramaphosa. South Africa has one of the most sophisticated constitutional architectures in the world. Independent courts, free press, multi-party parliament, anti-corruption institutions with real legal teeth. Those institutions found the problem. A former Chief Justice led the panel. The Constitutional Court ruled unanimously. A speaker from his own party declined to cover for him. Every institution did its job. And yet, in June 2026, the President of South Africa is still president. He has not been charged. He has not resigned. He is now using the very legal system those institutions protect to delay accountability from materializing. This is not a failure of South Africa's institutions. It is a test of whether they can reach all the way to the top and sustain that reach long enough to produce a result before the political will runs out. That test is still ongoing. The ANC finds itself in a position it has not occupied before. Its speaker declined its president's request. Its impeachment committee, chaired by an opposition MPE, is proceeding. Its own internal tensions between those who believe Ramaphosa must survive for the party's sake and those who believe the party's survival requires accountability are now public. The question inside Luthuli House is not just about Ramaphosa. It is about what the ANC chooses to be on the other side of this. Back to the farm, back to the sofa. February 2020, a robbery on a quiet night in Limpopo. Foreign cash stuffed in furniture. A security breach reported to the General Managing Presidential Protection, not to the police. An unofficial investigation. Witnesses allegedly paid off. 6 years of silence, legal battles, constitutional crises, and now an urgent interdict that is being heard before Parliament reconvenes. The money that was taken is gone. What remains is a question about the man, the institution he leads, and the country that chose him to lead it. Ramaphosa has said he will not resign. The Constitutional Court has said he must face the inquiry. The impeachment committee is meeting on June 24th, or trying to. As of today, June 2026, South Africa does not yet know which of its institutions will blink first. But it does know this: the sofa was just the beginning.